My name is Maria Juarez, and you're listening to In This Casa. Bienvenidos. In this podcast, I aim to memorialize and honor my husband David's memory by exploring conversations about life and what it's like in my casa, and hopefully in other casas as well. Welcome back to In This Casa, and thank you for joining me. This episode is the 9th month update since I lost David of how I'm doing. It's been just over 9 months. Today is Monday, May 20th when I'm filming this. This past Saturday was 40 weeks since I lost my husband in a motorcycle accident. And I thought I would do this 9-month update right now because it has been 3 months since the last time I did a 6-month update. And, when I did the 6-month update and I said, maybe I'll do this quarterly, I thought, wow, quarterly seems like so quickly after the initial update, but a lot can transpire in a few months. And I probably should go back and listen to my 6-month update before I film this one. And maybe going forward, I will do that so I can come into recording the episode with a conscious understanding of the difference of how I feel now versus how I was feeling a few months before. But I definitely think that I've likely been struggling more this past 3 months than I was the 3 months before my 6-month update. May has been really, really hard for me. And although I've typically been really good at anticipating holidays and things like that coming up and it being something that I know is going to be difficult for me and trying to make sure that I'm handling it well, April was so busy. And then there's just been so much going on. There was a lot going on emotionally with me and my kids. There's been a lot with work. My business partners and I decided to close down one of our businesses. So that's been the right decision, but an emotional decision and also a lot of work in trying to get that settled as well too. So it's been a lot going on. The salon's going well. And I was featured in an article for Voyage Dallas in April for the podcast for In This Casa. So that was really awesome. I also filmed 2 episodes that are coming up that I think are going to be really great episodes. One is with TikToker Aaron Bruce, and the other one is with one of our stylists, Meredith. And I think those are going to be really informative and good episodes and probably a little bit lengthy. But I haven't posted any episodes in the past 5 Saturdays now, I believe. And wow, 5 Saturdays just came and went fast. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's only 3 Saturdays, but I'm thinking it's 5 because I skipped a week, then I posted, then I skipped a week, and I intended to post, but I didn't. And then I for sure skipped this past week. I'm recording on Monday. This is probably not going to go out until the following Saturday. I don't know if I'm going to release it early or not. So in my head, it's 5 weeks of missing because it wasn't consistent, which I have mentioned on the podcast before that I'm pretty hard on myself. So, maybe it's not. I don't know. I'll go back and check my schedule. But it's not to say that I didn't completely abandon my podcast. I just was having a really hard month. And filming those 2 episodes was really, really difficult. The 2 that I filmed in April with Aaron and Meredith. They were hard because they were long, they were emotional. And honestly, I just have been struggling to get my brain to want to edit them. And it could be because of part of the conversation that happened during Meredith's episode, which is real and raw. And I'm not going to not include it, but I think maybe it just really fucked with my brain, And then right after that, we were going into May. And in May, my sister and my brother-in-law wanted to, every year, David and Kevin would throw a crawfish boil here at the house, the 2 of them together. It was an annual tradition that we had. And my sister and my brother-in-law wanted to still try to do the crawfish boil, but just do it as my nephew crosses their oldest son, his graduation party. And I agreed. I know that David would want us to keep up with our traditions and things like that, even though it's hard. And I felt like doing it as the graduation party did feel like it would make it easier to kind of get through the process of it. And it was a great event, and it was nice to see family, and it was awesome to celebrate Cross, and it went well. But it was emotional. It was emotional preparing for it. It was emotional getting through it. You know, it was emotional afterwards, looking back on our first crawfish boil without him. We do it every Cinco de Mayo, and we watched the fights, and it just, it was different without my husband. And I'm still not in an acceptance phase of him not being here. I'm still not there yet. So we had the crawfish boil during Cinco de Mayo, and then the next weekend was Mother's Day. And it was my first Mother's Day without my husband. And then the following Sunday, which was yesterday, was my 44th birthday. And I had planned, I'm really trying to, I don't know what I'm trying to do, honestly. I don't know if it's healthy. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. I don't know. But what I decided was that Hamilton is in town right now at the Winspear Opera House, and I always wanted to see it on Broadway, to see the musical live. So I decided that for my birthday, if David had been here, I would have asked him to take me, because we would have done something, and it was a Sunday. I know we probably would have gone out to eat and done that. So I decided to still celebrate the way that I think that I would have asked him to celebrate if he was here, but just by myself. So yesterday morning, my cousin Valerie had offered to make breakfast for the family, which was nice. And so I went over there and I had breakfast. And then I went and watched the musical alone by myself. And then I came home, and Bella came home after a while, and then we went and picked up dinner. And then we ate dinner together, and then Sarah FaceTimed us. And Bella had brought a little cake from Trader Joe's for me, and she put some candles on it. And my girls and my mom sang me happy birthday while we were at the dining room table, and Raven was sitting under my chair, and all of David's girls were together, and I just broke down. I lost it. It's been extremely emotional. I am officially older than David was when he died. My husband was a few weeks shy of turning 44 when he died in his accident, and I'm 44. So I've officially outlived him. And that's really fucking with me. So all that to say, the past few weeks have been difficult emotionally. The past few weeks have been super busy work-wise and with my kids and with my family. And I just have not been motivated to take the time to do the editing for the production for these episodes, because I do all of this myself. And I'm happy to do it all myself. And maybe one day it'll grow and I'll get to be able to pay for, somebody to edit, an editor to help me or something. But for right now, it's all on me. And it's probably good that it's all on me, because as we've talked about in previous episodes, I have a lot of time on my own. And so that was part of the point of starting the podcast, was to give me a hobby and something to do that I felt was purposeful and helpful. And so, but I have not been motivated to actually do the editing at night. Instead, I've been laying in bed, crying, watching TV, thinking, rotting, to use a term that my daughter Sarah uses. And I've just not been motivated to do it. And probably just because it was leading up to my birthday, and I'd been really depressed. I think I'd been depressed. And recently I made an appointment a couple months back, which is, it takes forever to get into your family medicine doctor. But I finally got in to see her last week. And I think I've mentioned before that I know I've mentioned that I have anxiety. I think I mentioned before that I would take a medication as needed, but I was off of it prior to David's accident. When David's accident happened, I emailed my doctor and was like, I think I need to start it back again. She sent me a prescription because I had already done my annual wellness checkup with her at that point. So she sent me a prescription because it had been something that, I'd used off and on for years, and she'd monitored me with it. So I started it right away, and I've been taking it daily, and it's a small dosage, but I've been taking it daily ever since David passed. Well, now going into after that 6-month period, going into this 9th month period, I could feel actual depression starting to creep on. And I was really struggling. I'm struggling to move as much as I was moving before. And so I talked to my doctor about it, and we are adjusting my antidepressant medication regimen from here going forward. So today is day 3 of that adjustment. And, I don't expect it to make me not miss my husband or fix things or make me stop crying randomly or, I don't expect it to be a quick fix. I just am hoping that it will get me over the hump of just not being able to be motivated to get things done. Up until the past 4 or 5 weeks, had been describing myself as being extremely unhappy or miserable or sad, but productive. And although I've been productive the past few weeks, I've not been productive to the level that I had been operating at maybe at the 6-month mark, the last time I gave an update. So I'm just hoping to get back up to that at least. And I think, today's a good start. It's Monday and I'm recording, and there'll be an episode this weekend and I will feel good about that. And then I'm going to work to edit the other 2 longer episodes and get those up for you guys and be consistent again and on a schedule of every Saturdays after this weekend, which would be Saturday, May 25th. It's even not that I wasn't creating content. I was creating the content. I just couldn't get over the finish line with it. My motivation had just kind of dwelled. And I think I started 3 more episodes besides the 2 that I'm telling you about with Aaron and Meredith. And now this is the 4th one. So I didn't abandon my podcast, and I won't abandon it. And I may disappear for a week, occasionally, depending on how I'm doing emotionally, but I'll come back. So 9 months later, I think I'm struggling at the fact that I am quickly headed towards that 1-year mark without David. I've already completed 3/4 of a year without him at this point, and I hate that. I see August 12th coming up on the horizon. May's almost over. Next month, I go to California and get Sarah, and we bring her home. And by we, I mean her and I. Her and I will be driving back. Her birthday's next month. In July, she and I will take a trip up to New York for a meeting that I have. And then August. And, that's just what's currently on the calendar now. Obviously, things will pop up, and I hope that my podcast grows and there's more going on with it as well too. So I'm just trying to learn how to balance everything. I still haven't finished everything around my house. I've gotten quite a bit done. It's not 100% and I'm still working on it. But even at that, I was on a roll and then I just kind of stalled. So I'm going to finish that up. My sister and Wendy and I have some goals in regards to the salon. There's a lot of work to be done, and, that will be good, and David would be proud, and that 12-month mark is looming, And everybody says that the first year is the hardest, and all the first holidays and all the first everythings, but, I'm going to hit that 12-month mark, and then right after that, we're going to get back in the car, me and Sarah and Bella, and we're going to drive her back up to California for the fall quarter of her junior year. And she has to be there early September since she's an RA. And David's birthday is the 4th. And so we're all going to be in California with her on the 4th. I don't want her by herself on his birthday. And then we'll fly home the next day. But I don't see a reality how this second birthday of his is going to be any easier than the first birthday without him was. I just don't. I don't see it. My brain doesn't comprehend it. I don't understand it. Probably the same way that I don't comprehend or I can't understand not accepting that he's gone, because I still can't. I still don't accept it. I think in a lot of ways I'm still in denial that he's not going to come home. And this past weekend, I had a brief conversation with my aunt, who was trying to console me and make me feel content, I guess is the best word. Her intentions were right. It was my birthday, and there was a short conversation leading up to this that obviously kind of, went in the direction of my emotional state. Even though I was up and out and doing what I need to be doing, I'm doing those things, I'm functioning, but I'm not happy. I'm doing what I need to do. Anyway, she mentioned to me that, that I may not understand it or realize it, but that things would get easier as the years went on. And, I just said to her that honestly, I was not offended by what she said to me because, again, and I've mentioned this on previous episodes, like I think I understand that people are they don't know what to say to me, and they're trying to say something helpful, and it's coming from the right place. The intentions are loving, but what's going on in my brain is just, it feels like to me, it's foreign compared to the way that the rest of my family sees it or thinks about it. And I am a very opinionated person, and I'm not easily swayed. And so I want to be careful about how I respond to people, and I don't want to be offensive to other people. Like I said, I'm not offended by them because as far as I'm concerned, they don't know any better. I'm assuming that their heart is in the right place. So I don't want to, slap anyone's hand for trying to be loving or kind. But I just don't agree with some of the things that, some of the perspectives that people have in regards to grief. And so I told my aunt, I disagree with that. I just don't see a world or a future where I'm not going to be crying for the loss of my husband daily. And I understand that everybody thinks it's supposed to get easier as, years go on, and that, I'm young and I may find somebody else and I may remarry or I may whatever. But in my head, I still see a future where even if I did remarry, which is not my thought process, but even if I did, 20 years from now, there's still going to be an occasion. It's like 20 years from now on my birthday when I'm 64, I don't see a moment in that day where I don't even look at my present day imaginary partner and think, David was supposed to be with me. It's not like losing a parent. It's not like losing a mom in my head, because the natural order of life is that when I'm 64 on my birthday, there is a very distinct possibility my mom will not be there because she would be 84. And I don't wake up to my mom every day. She wasn't my partner in life. I don't, it's not the same as losing a sibling. It's not the same. I'm not discounting the grief of a family member or, a parent or a sibling or a cousin or a close friend or whatever. I'm just saying that this was my partner in life who we slept together in the same bed every night. We woke up together, gave each other kisses. We talked during the day. We planned our life together. Everything was the two of us together. And that's a little bit different than, most relationships with parents or siblings. So I just have a hard time when accepting or understanding or agreeing that what my grief process is going to looks like somebody else who has not lost their partner in life, but has lost a very, very close and significant family member or, significant other or friend. But I just think it's different. I just feel like it's different. And I don't feel like there will be a day that I don't cry. It's tough. I've been trying to rack my brain for the past couple of weeks about a different word to use instead of, because they call the stages of grief stages. And everybody that, if you read any books, listen to podcasts, listen to YouTube videos, whatever, everybody talks about how the stages aren't actually stages and they're not cycles. I guess they're waves, but that even doesn't do the description of it justice. But I've been looking for the right words to explain what the so-called stages of grief are like and how they come and go. And I'm going to figure out how to coin a term because there just needs to be a better explanation. It's not a stage. It's not a phase. It's not a cycle. It's a state of being. It's officially a part of who I am now. It's officially a part of my DNA. It's officially a part of my personality and my character and my soul. It has changed who I am as a person. And there's got to be a better way to explain that. Anyway, so my poor aunt, she did, come by and give me a very heartfelt apology and said that she didn't want to offend me. She, just loves me and wants me to, take care of myself. And I believe her apology and appreciate it wholeheartedly. I even told her, no, I wasn't offended. I honestly was trying not to offend anyone else sitting at that table when I spoke, because again, it's my opinion. These are my opinions. This is how I feel. This is what's going on in my brain. And, others may not understand it. I feel like some don't and aren't saying it probably to be kind. But I'm just trying to be truthful and honest, because I think that that's part of the issue with grief, and how people continue to maybe have misunderstandings about it, or how people internalize it and suffer even more greatly as individuals processing it and going through it. Because if I have to make my grief comfortable for everybody around me, then I'm making myself uncomfortable, and that's having an emotional impact on me. There is a stress within myself happening for that. But if I am saving myself from that stress, then now I'm creating a stressor on the people around me who are uncomfortable with my grief. And I don't mean that they're uncomfortable with my grief like they don't want to be around me, or, they're like, oh, frustrated that she's grieving or whatever, but just like that they don't know how to react to grief. And not me in particular, just people, right? You don't know what to say, you don't know what to do. So I'm just trying to figure out how we go about having a truthful conversation so that it sparks a positive change in how we look at grief or somebody grieving and our interactions with our loved ones under those circumstances. And I think that begins with honesty. So I'm just trying to be honest. And I think that's a good place to stop for this update. So like I mentioned earlier, I have, I think, some interesting conversations coming up here pretty soon. The episode with Aaron Bruce, I'm really looking forward to. I think it's really helpful. The one with Meredith as well. I actually met a widow recently who tragically lost her husband a couple of years ago in a wrong way driving accident. She's doing some amazing work advocating for, some safer processes in regards to transportation on the Department of Transportation highways, as well as the tollway highways. So hopefully we'll be able to have a conversation with her as well. So there's stuff coming up that I intend to share, and I'm not going anywhere. I just was having a rough time. But I appreciate you being here and coming back and listening to me. And you can join me here next Saturday. And we can continue to talk about what it's like in my casa. And if you'd like to talk about what it's like in your casa with me, send me an email. I'll talk to you soon.